What's up, Breakthrough Success listeners? Marc, the podcasting coach here. And if you like the idea of growing from $0 to $2 million in sales in less than 18 months, stay tuned for this episode because we are joined by a guest who is the co-founder of CrossNet, the world's first four-way volleyball game. And in less than a year, CrossNet has flooded the market and is now being sold by dozens of top retailers in the United States, such as Walmart, Target, Academy, Gopher Sports, and Flaghouse. Again, growing a brand from $0 to $2 million in sales in less than 18 months. That's what our guest has been able to do. He's going to share some insights that can help you along your journey. Our guest who joins us is none other than Chris Meade. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Chris, I'm so happy to have you on Breakthrough Success, and just the idea of the amount of growth you've been able to experience with CrossNet. I mean, part of it is coming up with an innovative idea, but part of it is also how you market that idea. So for an innovative idea such as CrossNet, what was the marketing like for that? Because it's not like you have a, something just like CrossNet already out in the market.
Exactly, yeah. So it's definitely a learning curve, but what we learned early and often was getting the game out to customers at the beach or in the setting that they would actually be playing it was huge. So getting content, video and photography always sold better than me just texting you or typing four-way volleyball. So when you actually visibly see this product for the first time, it's just like a shock of, yes, I could see myself playing. Yes, I need it. So we figured let's invest in video and photo as much as possible and sell to our customers that way. But we also realized we didn't need to spend a ton of money on it because we are the first of its kind. We're a patented product. So people could see it and there's no need to spend $30,000 on a video that we could make for $300.
And that's a really great point Chris makes, because you got to think about where your audience is, because, like text-based content wouldn't work as well as video where you could see the product in action. So that is something very important to think about when it comes to your innovation or your brand. How are you going to get it in front of the right people? So, that's just a starting point for the marketing side, but how did you then go from $0 to $2 million in sales? Because that's like such a major jump.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. I mean, essentially we kept, we were just very lean, right? So it's not only important that we had $2 million in sales, but we made a lot of profit on that $2 million. So I talked to a lot of people who spent 1.9 to make their 2. Like, that's not cool to me. That's not what I'm in the business to do. So, I mean, in order to do that, we really invested heavily on customer feedback and making sure word of mouth marketing was big, but also that people were satisfied. If there's something wrong, if their game came damaged or broken or anything like that, we wanted them to be fully happy. So we knew once they went outside that they were going to be doing the marketing for us, essentially. So marketing on getting people engaged and getting them involved, it's one step to have them to buy the product. It's another to actually get them to constantly use it. And it's cool because we'll see, I'll send a CrossNet out to a random city in Oregon. And 2 months later, I'll see them actually getting sales from that same city because probably that user's playing it. So doing a lot of marketing to try to make customer retention and make them happy. And then also just constantly outbounding to retailers. So eventually it just kept snowballing. Each retailer would keep joining in with different purchase orders. So really scaled us really quickly.
And the great thing about something like CrossNet is that it is a multiplayer game. It's not like you could just be single player, like in your house or somewhere else playing it or outside. You have to get other people involved. So just like if you buy one, you get 3 of your friends in. Those 3 friends buy for their 3 friends in play. So that effect, like you could see how it works. And Chris emphasizes that customer feedback, which is something a lot of people forget about when they are in that growth stage. And it's not like the company, doesn't really grow. Like the growth we've talked about for CrossNet is incredible. So how were you still able to grow, get more customers, but still serve your existing base and look at that feedback?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, we dedicated a lot of resources and time into email marketing. So we have one segment of the business that focuses on customer retention, making everybody happy, letting them know when we have events and tournaments and trade shows and all that good stuff. And then the other pillar is outbounding to new business. So we work with a lot of gym teachers, actually. So we're in over 3,000 schools right now.
Wow.
So it's kind of like what you just talked about, where you have kids coming to school, playing, and then going home and saying, "Hey, mom and dad, I want to pick up CrossNet." So you have that that snowball effect, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know about the 3,000 schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have Walmart and all those other ones. Like, how
Yeah.
did you get into those different places? Because Walmart and Target aren't easy. Getting into that many schools isn't easy. I mean, it takes a
Exactly.
lot. So what'd you do
Yeah,
to
it's a
get
lot of
there?
work. So LinkedIn was really, really a good tool for me. I'm 27. I'm talking to people who shouldn't probably be emailing me or talking to me back, but I'm getting it because I have built up my LinkedIn portfolio. I'm adding people. I'm not just doing cold. I'm actually giving them warm, receptive messaging. And then over time, they've kind of been exposed to my product, and I'm putting it in the newsfeed. They might not be engaging with it, but they're seeing it on a daily basis and they become familiar, and eventually they pull the trigger. So we've had these big wholesalers actually come to us rather than me go to them,
Wow.
which is wild. So the same thing is true with the gym teachers. Constantly every day we're getting gym teachers emailing us saying, hey, we would like to make an order. We'd like to make an order. And it's just snowballed.
Wow. So you used LinkedIn, to build relationships, to do that type of follow up, to get initial momentum. And I'm sure you still do that because that's
Oh,
like,
every day.
yeah, I mean,
Every day.
it's your bread and butter. You just keep going with that. But now you've got people coming to you, which is the dream scenario. How long were you doing stuff on LinkedIn? I know you do it every day, but how long were you doing it when, it was just you making it happen rather than people coming to you?
Yeah, definitely probably the first year was a lot of work to just build up that audience. Every day I'd be adding gym teachers or volleyball coaches, and eventually the feed grew, and every time I'd post, my post would become stronger, and there would be a gym teacher that would comment that would add validity to like what I'm saying, and then another gym teacher would join in. So eventually you just start seeing it piggyback, and that's kind of like when you build a Shopify store. You get 50 visitors to your site, you're stoked, right? And then your next goal is to get 100. And then it's like, okay, how do I optimize that 100? And now we're all the way up to thousands of visitors a day, hundreds of sales. And it's like, just keep getting that steady growth is the most important.
Yeah, I'm definitely there with YouTube right now. 100,000 subscribers is the goal someday, but I am looking at 10,000 by the end of 2020. And when you do, you hit 50, you're like, okay, let me get to 100. Let me get to, how have you been able to hit each of those numbers? Like, what has been the mentality that says I'm going to go 50 to 100, but then you actually get there rather than keep saying I'm going to go from 50 to 100?
Yeah, I think just putting actionable like plans in place. It's like, what can I hire for, or what can I fill the void that I am not good at, right? Like, I suck at coding. I'm not a coder. I know how to build a Shopify store, but I'm not a coder, and I'm sure as hell not a graphic designer. So rather than me wasting my time trying to put something that's not going to look that good, I'll spend my money that we've made to kind of double down on the company. So we're just constantly doubling down on our areas of weakness. Just today, order fulfillment, right? We never expected to grow this quickly. So we hired a full-time order fulfillment person to make sure our customers are getting their orders next day now. So just doubling down on your weaknesses is the best way I know to grow.
Yeah, and Chris brings up a really great point where you had to bring in that person to help with the orders, because that's not something Chris can do every day in addition to the LinkedIn and everything you're doing. And I'm sure you've heard of the concept Pareto's principle 80-20. I feel like a lot of people have heard of that. Is LinkedIn that sweet spot for you, or do you have other parts of the sweet spot that are helping you grow?
Yeah, well, email marketing, LinkedIn, and just Shopify overall is just like every day I'm making tweaks to the store and I'm judging performance. I'm like, what can I do? Just today I changed the pop-up to trigger at 5 seconds instead of 8 seconds. And over the next few weeks, I'll start analyzing, did my conversion with that coupon code go up? Did it go down? Just making actionable changes like that every day is stuff I'm doing on the site. Like, you would never notice it, but they're big things that end up with a lot of money at the end of the day.
And conversion rates, I mean, knowing your numbers is so important. And just like, making something come up 3 seconds faster, having a green background instead of a red background, all these things that, may not seem like too much do add up and give you a high converting page or a low converting page. But knowing your numbers really paints that entire picture.
Yeah, I mean, me changing a color from red to blue could be a difference of me making $3,000 more in a day. Like, stupid little things you never think of. So me making those like smart decisions for the business are more important than some of the outbounding I'll even be doing.
Now, I know with something like a Shopify store and LinkedIn, you do get a whole bunch of different stats. And while, the stats can really help you determine, like, am I going the right direction here? one of the things a lot of people fall victim to is overanalysis, where you've got so many different stats where, okay, this stat makes me look good, this stat makes me look bad, let's focus on this stat that makes me look good. So how do you like look at your stats, know your numbers, but not get too deep into it where you're looking at numbers that don't matter as much?
Of course. I mean, the only numbers I'm looking at are my conversion rate, my traffic, and how much I spent on ads. And if I see that my profit, if my gross profit's this and this is my marketing spend, then I can kind of break down my net, and then I can break it down per acquisition, right? So my goal is to make sure we're always in the green. We're never wasting money on ads. And that's basically what we're doing every day, is always want to be ROI positive. If not, cut the ads and kill them before we burn our cash.
And that's a great point also with cutting the ads, because there is that stretch where you got to figure out if the ad works or not. But there is that point where you just got to say, okay, this thing's dead. We got to cut it before it kills our business. How do you, like, do you give it 2 weeks, or do you give it a certain, like, how does that work?
Typically, we give it less than a week. Like, we're running so many different types of ads. And what we're doing now is being really granular, where we're running ads specifically geared towards moms and dads. We know this video content performs better. Why am I going to sell a 21-year-old spiking it into his friend's face to a grandmother? They're more interested in family content. So we'll run the childhood ad with an 8 and 10-year-old playing to the grandparents. So doing more granular stuff like that has definitely been a huge spike for conversion as well.
And I do appreciate, you know, how targeted you guys are getting with this approach. And it is no wonder you guys are growing. At the beginning, did you always have this approach, or did you just have to figure out, like, how'd you get this granular?
Yeah, I mean, half of what I do as like the founder of the company is researching things to make my company money. You kind of get to that point where you have the sales coming in, you have the emails going out, you have the orders going out. It's like, what else can I do to fill my time? And a lot of it's just like researching things to make your business better. But one huge attribution has been dedicating way more time to email marketing to make us look more professional, making your site less desperate for sales, and also just really being smart about who you're targeting and how you're doing it with ads.
And I mean, there's this idea, like, you know, like Warren Buffett, I believe, reads like 6 hours a day or something, some like really ridiculous number like that. But I mean, it's fascinating. You do get to a point where you are super successful and the money is coming in. And then part of being a CEO, it's not like the CEO is like getting his hands dirty, doing all the work. The CEO is more of that decision maker, that person who like doesn't show up to work as much, but is going to make those really important decisions. And then he gives the different right roles to the right people. So there is that aspect to it as well.
100%. Yeah. And we're always working kind of put people in their roles and have them do what they do good. And if there's an area of weakness, hire for it immediately, because we're cash flow positive. We have money to spend smartly as long as we're doing good on our ads.
Now, I mean, it's really impressive how far CrossNet has come, but you know, in the beginning when you don't really have as much money to invest, like what are some of the things that you did initially to like before you could really hire for help and build up in that way?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't pay ourselves for the first almost 2 years running the company. So it's about 18 months until we really start giving ourselves even a portion of a paycheck. But just don't be stupid with your inventory. There's always going to be more inventory. I talked to a lot of founders who will buy thousands of units off the jump just because they got a price break of $2 or 50 cents. Like, if your product's going to sell and people like it, you can always get more product. Like, it's always going to be there. So just make your money first before you kind of bankrupt yourself, because you need so much money for advertisement and for fulfillment, for customer service, that there's all other arms of your business that you're not thinking about when you're starting your product or your company. So don't be frugal. Act like every dollar is your last dollar.
And I know not everyone listening to this has to worry about inventory and things like that, but it could be like, do you really need the really, really, really nice mic, or do you need the like $1,000 software to edit your video? So like, yeah, there are ways that, you know, we can cut down on our spending and still produce a great product, which is the approach Chris used initially. Then he was able to build up because he saw the demand for CrossNet.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we haven't spent videographers reach out to us all the time promising beautiful videos, but we haven't spent more than $500 on a video ever. And we have people, oh, we'll shoot it on the red camera for $9,000. And I'm like, dude, people are going to get it. It's a 4-way net. We can do it for $300 and use the rest of the money to pay an employee for half their salary, you know, or something like that. So just being smart about stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, $300 versus $9,000 is $8,700 extra you have for the employee. That's $8,700 you have for ads. I mean, again, just being super smart with how you spend. Now, you didn't mention you didn't pay yourself for the first 18 months, and I feel like a lot of people will be like, okay, I've been working hard. I've been really trying hard. I gotta give myself a pat on the back. How did you resist that temptation and continue to invest in the business?
Yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. And sometimes I definitely wasn't as strong as I'd want. I'd be like, oh, I need to get paid now. Like there's money in the account. But every time we didn't pull from it, we'd actually have to use it for inventory, because we went from self-funding it with $10,000 to having to put purchase orders in for 10,000 units at a time, which is like 300, 400K. So thank God we didn't pull the money. But essentially, we would just have to stay strong and also find ways to make money outside of CrossNet. So, like, I'm a photographer by trade, but also I learned through all of this how to build Shopify stores. So I'd network with people, I'd build their stores for them, make some money to pay the rent. 3 or 4 stores here, I'm good for next 6 months. I'm not buying Rolexes. I'm not going out in the town. Like, I'm just making what I need to go out and live.
That reminds me, I saw some picture on Instagram where it's like you see like the millionaire who's dressed like a not like a millionaire, and you see the poor person who's like got the Gucci and all this like super expensive stuff. So I mean, it just goes to show that Chris has a company that's making millions in sales but not living the $1 million lifestyle. So there is that disconnect between what people think and what is actually happening.
Yeah, 100%. And we still stay frugal like that because there's more money to play with. I mean, there's trips we could go on and events and places that we could do now because we weren't stupid. We didn't shoot that $10,000 video that nobody's watching. So, dude, a few smart decisions like that, really make or break your company.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it really just comes down to decisions and how you view everything. And
yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's just so amazing how, you have all this money, but it's like, no, I'm going to put this in my business because I know the impact I can have. I know this thing could grow on a much greater scale. Yeah. And there's only you don't need too many necessities in life. I feel like, people just buy a type of revenue you're making. Like if you wanted to be a fool with it, you could buy a Lamborghini, you could buy the $1 million mansion, I'm sure. But
of course. I mean, I live in a nice little 1-bedroom apartment with my girlfriend. It's all you need. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes just gotta keep it simple, not go too far because, $1 spent one way, you can't get it back to spend another way.
Exactly.
So I mean, CrossNet again, super awesome job with being able to grow the company, and I mean, we've covered so much ground in this episode. I mean, for people who want to learn more about you guys, where do we go?
Yeah, go to crossnetgame.com or add me on LinkedIn, of course, at Chris Meade. And yeah, happy to respond back, or Chris at crossnetgame.com.
Chris, this was a really great interview. Links will be in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us on Breakthrough Success. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.